Does running actually eat your muscle? Because I had a client this week, big, strong guy, refused to walk on an incline treadmill for 10 minutes because he was convinced it'd undo his whole leg day.
And you told him?
I told him that's nonsense. But then I stopped because, is it? I genuinely wasn't 100% sure where the science lands anymore.
Oh, this is the oldest fight in the gym. I've been hearing cardio kills gains since the Reagan administration, basically.
It has an actual origin, though. There's a real paper behind the myth.
See, this is why we keep you around, Oliver.
I'm Oliver Hart. I read the studies so the two of you don't have to pretend you did.
And I'm Theo Sanders, 40 years in, and I'm here to tell you both the answer is it depends. And then take 20 minutes explaining why.
Maya Brooks, I actually coach humans in the room, so I want something my guy can do tomorrow. Oliver, origin story, go.
Right. The foundational one is Robert Hickson, 1980. He put people through a brutal protocol, heavy strength work and endurance training at the same time, 6 days a week. And the strength gains flattened out and then actually declined in the back half.
6 days a week of everything. That's not a normal person. That's a lab experiment in punishment.
That's exactly the point everyone forgets. We call it the interference effect. And Hickson's subjects were doing an absurd volume. The headline became cardio kills gains. The actual finding was if you do enormous amounts of both, strength suffers a bit.
The effect size is smaller than the headline. I can hear it coming.
You've been listening. Yes. When you look at the big reviews, there's a well-known meta-analysis, Jacob Wilson and colleagues, around 2012.
The one everybody cites and nobody reads.
The very one. The interference on pure strength is quite small. On hypertrophy, actual muscle size, it's close to negligible for most people. Where it bites is power. Explosive stuff. You jump, you sprint.
Okay, so for my hypertrophy client, the guy scared of the treadmill,
He's fine.
The muscle building signal is remarkably robust to a bit of cardio.
Can I say the thing I always say?
You're going to, whether I let you or not.
The guy who's too scared to walk 10 minutes isn't losing gains to cardio. He's losing years to a heart that never learned to work. That's the actual trade he's making.
And that's the part that gets buried in the gains argument. We treat cardio like it's a threat to the mirror, when its real job is the thing that keeps you alive.
Give me the numbers, though. My people respond to numbers, not vibes.
Cardiorespiratory fitness, your VO2 max, essentially how well your body uses oxygen, is one of the strongest predictors of all-cause mortality we have. There's a large study out of Cleveland Clinic, published in JAMA around 2018, hundreds of thousands of people, and the least fit group had dramatically higher mortality risk.
Dramatically how?
The lowest fitness cohort had risk comparable to or exceeding classic risk factors, smoking, diabetes. The lead author, Y.L. Jaber, said something like, being unfit should be treated as a disease that has a prescription, and the prescription is exercise. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the thrust.
Being unfit is worse than smoking? That's the kind of thing that ends up wildly overstated on Instagram.
And you'd be right to flag it. It's an association, not unfit equals cigarettes. But the direction is real and it's big. Fitness is protective in a way that's hard to overstate.
This is what nobody tells the 22-year-old chasing a bigger chest. Your bench press is not on the mortality tables. Your ability to climb stairs at 70 is.
Okay, but, and I love you, Theo, muscle is on those tables too, right? It's not just cardio.
She's got you.
She does. I'll take it.
Muscle mass and strength, especially grip strength, they track with longevity too. Sarcopenia, the muscle loss as you age, that's the thing that puts people in care homes. You fall, you break a hip, and the hip break at 80 is very often the beginning of the end.
The grip strength data is genuinely striking. There's work, the Pure study, a big international cohort, where grip strength predicted mortality better than systolic blood pressure did in some analyses.
Your handshake tells the actuary more than your blood pressure cuff. I love that.
And it's not just old age. Muscle is metabolically active. More muscle, better glucose handling, better insulin sensitivity.
Careful, though. The muscle is a metabolic furnace. It burns loads of calories at rest, claim is overcooked. A pound of muscle burns something like 6 calories a day at rest. Not nothing over a whole body of it, but it's not the metabolism rocket the fitness industry sells.
There goes my favorite line.
Follow who profits from that line. Supplement companies, toning programs, build muscle and the fat melts off while you sleep. The resting burn is real, but small. The glucose disposal, the insulin sensitivity, that part's solid.
So one keeps the engine strong, the other keeps the chassis from rusting. You need the whole car.
What's that? Did you just do a car analogy?
I contain multitudes, Maya.
Okay, here's the real world. I have a client, 2 kids, works full-time, gives me maybe 3 hours a week total. Not 3 hours a day, 3 hours if I'm lucky. What does that person do?
This is the only question that matters, honestly. Every study we've cited is on people with more time and more supervision than a normal human has. This is where I get to win the argument.
Here we go.
Consistency beats optimization. Every single time. The perfect program you quit in March loses to the mediocre one you're still doing in December. I've watched this for 40 years. The people who are strong and healthy at 60 are not the people who found the optimal split. They're the people who never stopped.
I actually, and this pains me because it's not a study.
Write it down, Maya. He agreed with feeling.
I agree with the direction. The adherence literature backs it. The best exercise is the one you'll actually do is a cliche because it's true. Program design past a certain point has diminishing returns compared to just showing up.
Fine, but just show up is not a program. My 2 kids client needs a plan when she walks in. So let's build it. 3 hours a week.
Start with the floor. The public health guidance, this is broadly consistent across the WHO and the American guidelines, is roughly 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity a week, plus muscle strengthening on 2 or more days.
150 minutes is 2.5 hours. That's basically all her time gone before we lift anything.
But moderate is the key word. Moderate means brisk walking. It counts. The commute, the dog, chasing the kids. People imagine cardio means dying on a treadmill.
Zone 2. That's the term everyone's throwing around now.
Right, this blew up on the podcasts, Peter Attia, everybody. The conversational pace thing.
And here's where I have to put a break on it. Zone 2 is genuinely useful. It's aerobic work you can recover from, you can do a lot of it, but the internet turned it into a mystical fat-burning frequency you must hit precisely or it's worthless. That's not the science. The boundaries are fuzzy, and honestly, faster also works. Higher intensity intervals give you a lot of VO2 max improvement in less time.
So for my time-crunched client, intervals might actually be the efficient choice.
For fitness per minute? Quite possibly. There's decent evidence that short, hard intervals move VO2 max efficiently. The catch is they're unpleasant and harder to recover from if she's also lifting.
And unpleasant is how you get someone to quit in March. Round and round we go.
Okay, Practical question I get constantly. If she's doing both in one session, what comes first? The lifting or the cardio?
If her priority is strength or muscle, lift first. There's reasonable evidence that doing a big endurance bout right before heavy lifting blunts the lifting quality. You're just tired. Cardio after or on a separate day sidesteps most of the interference.
The old-timers knew this without the papers. You don't run 5 miles and then go try to squat heavy. Your legs are already gone.
And separate days is better if you can?
Ideally, yes. Some studies suggest separating them by several hours or onto different days reduces interference further, but ideally and 3 hours a week with 2 kids don't share a postcode.
They really don't.
This is the thing. We keep optimizing for the athlete and prescribing for the parent. Those are different jobs.
That's fair. That's genuinely fair.
So let me build the actual week, and you two tell me where I'm wrong. 3 sessions, 1 hour each. 2 of them lean strength, full body, compound lifts, squat, hinge, push, pull. Because full body twice a week gets her most of the muscle building return.
The frequency research supports that. Twice a week per muscle group captures the lion's share of the hypertrophy benefit. The jump from 2 to 3 is much smaller than 0 to 2.
And I finish each of those with 10-15 minutes of harder cardio. Then the third session is longer, easier. The conversational zone 2 walk or bike, 45 minutes, maybe with the kids.
That's a life, not a protocol. I'd add, let the walking with kids count. Stop treating incidental movement like it doesn't exist. It exists. Your body doesn't know if the treadmill has a screen on it.
So circling all the way back, the guy's scared of the treadmill. If he does my week, is he leaving muscle on the table?
Functionally, no. At that volume, 10-15 minutes of cardio a few times a week, the interference effect is basically a rounding error for hypertrophy. Where you'd see it is if he were training for a marathon and a powerlifting meet simultaneously.
Which nobody listening is doing.
The myth persists because it's got a real study under it, and because it flatters people who don't want to do cardio.
Ooh, call it out.
It's a permission structure. Cardio kills gains means I'm allowed to skip the hard, boring, life-saving thing. Follow the comfort. That's the incentive.
And the flip side, the runners who won't lift because they think it'll make them slow and bulky.
Oh, the I don't want to get bulky crowd. Do you know how hard it is to get bulky? I coach this for a living, and I promise you, 2 full body sessions a week is not turning anyone into a bodybuilder by accident.
The bulk fear is almost the same error running the other direction. Both tribes use a myth to avoid the thing they don't enjoy.
People will build an entire belief system to avoid discomfort. I've done it. We've all done it.
Can I flag something I see in the gym constantly, though? People treat this as 50-50, cardio and lifting equal. But the priority should shift by who you are, right? My sedentary beginner and my competitive lifter should not get the same ratio.
Correct, and that's where blanket advice fails. If you're sedentary, the single highest return thing you can do is get some cardiorespiratory fitness. Going from unfit to moderately fit is the biggest mortality jump on the whole curve. The gains from being completely untrained to a little trained are enormous.
The first mile off the couch is worth more than the 50th mile of the marathoner.
Beautifully put, and true. Diminishing returns are steep, so a beginner leaning cardio first makes sense. Someone already fit, chasing body composition, leans strength.
And older adults?
Lift. I'll die on this. Past 60, resistance training is not optional. It's the thing standing between you and the walker. The muscle you protect in your 50s is the independence you keep in your 80s.
The data agrees with the sermon. Resistance training in older adults improves not just strength, but balance, bone density, fall risk. It's arguably the highest leverage intervention in that population.
So it was never cardio versus lifting.
It was never versus anything. It's a dose question. How much of each for who, when? If I'm boiling it to one line, the versus is marketing. Your heart and your muscles are not competing for your loyalty. They're both cashing checks your future self has to cover.
And practically, 2 full-body lifting sessions, a bit of cardio tacked on, 1 longer, easy walk or ride. 3 hours. That covers the strength guidelines and most of the aerobic ones, and it fits a real week.
And the meta point? The one I'll keep hammering till you two throw me off the show.
Never.
The optimal program you abandon loses to the decent one you keep. 40 years tells me the winners aren't the optimizers. They're the ones who are still there in December. Find the version of both you don't hate and don't stop.
I'd only add, be suspicious of anyone selling you a reason to skip the uncomfortable half. Whichever half that is for you, that's probably the half you need more of.
That's the whole episode right there. Do the thing you're avoiding.
We could have opened with that and gone home early.
Where's the fun in that?
We'll see you next week on Strong Evidence. Go for a walk, then lift something and stop arguing with the treadmill.
The treadmill always wins.
It really does.
This episode was generated with AI by Demades.